Hey guys, welcome to lesson 96. This is on page 497 of your math book, and the topic is functions and then learning how to graph the functions. And functions is just a different word for a math formula or a math equation. So right here I actually wrote that. So what is a function? A function is a math equation or formula to get a number. So a lot of the times when you see a list of numbers, there is a pattern to them, and you can use functions to be able to guess what the next number will be in that number pattern, which is what I wrote right here. So let me just show you this example, and I'll just kind of walk you through it. So please just kind of follow where my pencil points rather than trying to read ahead. And I promise it'll make more sense. So let's say that you have a chart that looks like this. And L and M are just random letters that they chose to represent number values. There's nothing special to them. You will see charts that have different letters. You will even see charts that has a letter on this side and then an equation on this side. So don't pay attention to the letters as much. But what we are trying to guess is the pattern of how 5 and 20 is connected, 10 and 25 is connected, and 15 and 30 is connected. So this is where you kind of have to guesstimate to be able to come up with this pattern. So in order to find the question mark, which I told you is 22, but let me tell you how I got there first. So in order to know what this question mark is, you have to first guess what the pattern is, which is the function. So again, your actual table would look just like this. And there would be a blank right here. And it would tell you to get the missing number. And that's what you would be expected to find. So let me tell you how I found that. So L, 5, 7, 10, and 15 all represent different L values. 20, 22, 25, and 30 all represent M values. Now, this formula right here is one that I had guessed, and it happened to work because this is the pattern. So, any L number that you add 15 to gives you the matching M number. So what that means is if I put 5 plus 15, that gives me 20, which is the corresponding M. So see how 5 and 20 is connected. So 5 is what I plug into L, and then if I do this right, 20 is what I should get for M. Let's look at the next one. I'm going to skip 7 for now. So if you will look at 10 and 25 with me. To make sure that this formula still works that I guessed, I'm going to plug in 10 because that's my next L number. And I'm going to add that to 15. And then if I did that right, then I should get 25 for my M, because 25 is the corresponding pair to 10. Next is 15 and 30. So I plug 15 into the L, and I add 15, and when I do that, I should get 30, which is my corresponding pair to 15. So see, 5 and 20 have to go together, 10 and 25 have to go together, 15 and 30 have to go together. So this is how I'm going to get, sorry about that guys. So now to get that question mark, I have to plug 7 into L, which is what I did here. So 7 plus 15, once I do that, I get 22. So that means that 22 is now my new M. So they all go together. And they are connected together using this function. So this right here is the function, which is the equation that I'll use to get my missing number right here. So let me show you another one, and I think it'll make even more sense. So right here, rather than having two letters up top, it gave you a letter, and then it gave you an equation. This is used the same way. So what that means is that every single time you see an X, you're going to plug in a number for that X. So you would plug in 2, because 2 is my first X, and then you would plug in 3, because 3 is my next X, and then you would plug in 4, because 4 is the last X. So when I did that, I plugged in 2, and if you want to just draw arrows just so you know where it comes from. So this is my function, so the chart actually gave it to me this time. So 2 is going to be plugged in right there, because that's my X. So 3 times 2 is 6, minus 2 is 4, and that worked. So 4 is the corresponding pair to 2. So that's where those numbers would have came from. Then I plug in 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2 is 7. So 7 is also the correct pair to 3. And then I plug in 4. So 4 times 3 is 12, minus 2 is 10. So then that means that 10 is my missing number right here. And just as a reminder, if you're wondering why I multiplied 3 times 2, 3 times 3, and 3 times 4, 2, 3, and 4 are the new X numbers. So because I have 3 and X right beside each other, that means that I'm multiplying them. So 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. The last example I'm going to show you is how to graph the number values. So right here, for this example, I just gave you the numbers, and all of these are in your book. I even put the page numbers, that way you can read through in case I'm not making sense. So you have 1 and 4, 2 and 8, 3 and 12, 4 and 16. So that means that these go together. So if you have a graph that looks like this, you're going to put the left side of the graph on the bottom, and then you're going to put the right side of the graph on the side. That's why I put S and P here, is just titles for your graph. So because I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, for the S values, I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, however big you want your graph to be. And then for the P side, I have 4, 8, 12, and 16. So that's why I numbered it 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. And again, you can make it as big as you want. So that means that I'm going to graph the horizontal number first, and then the vertical number. So keep in mind, this is like the x-axis, and then up here is the y-axis. And you've been taught how to graph those. So 1 and 4. So I'm going to go 1 up to 4. 2 and 8. So I'm going to go over 2 up to 8. 3 and 12. So I'm going to go over to 3 and up to 12. And then my last set is 4 and 16. So I'm going to go over to 4 and up to 16. And you can leave it like that, or if it makes you feel better, you can draw a line through it to connect those dots. And that is how you graph a function. So again, please read through this chapter. I really think it would help you. Again, this is lesson 96. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a great day.